There's my tree house. It's been in this set of trees for 16 years now. I had a cedar post that I put in the ground. They held up that far corner. I took it down yesterday. The flooring of the house has started to rot out, and you can see the house has slipped. It was connected to this poplar here, and then it just rode on skids on this other poplar, and I had like an inverted peace sign, a Y frame for it to slide on, and I've taken that down to try to get this thing out of the tree, but it's held up at the top of this one. It's wedged against that tree at the very top. But the flooring started to rot out. It's just pine. The house itself is made out of cedar. That was in my grandfather's wood shop when he passed away. And then we took it to the basement of a church and put it in storage. All total, I believe it was milled back in the 70s, the cedar was. But it's been in storage a long time, but it's held up really well out here. It's been here for 16 years. It was in the basement of that church for about 12 years, and then he had it another 20 years or so before that. As you can see, it's got a nice little porch on it. This lower end is about 15 feet off the ground because of the way the terrain goes down. It was a pretty cool place. There, as you can see up underneath, that big poplar tree goes right through the middle of it. There's where I've cut the bracing out in hopes that it would just come on down. But it's just hanging there. It's been hanging like this for a day now. The wind blows, it shifts and moves a little bit. Supposed to be some thunderstorms this afternoon. I'm hoping it'll come on down. I've tried to pull it a little bit with a rope and I can rock it, but I can't loosen it up. And I certainly don't want to get underneath it. I'd say it weighs at least 1,000 pounds. And all that wood that comes down on top of you. That's gonna be a bad day. So I'm just kind of waiting to see if it's going to come down. That cedar looks pretty good. My idea is, once I get it down, is to just move the cedar portion to a garden spot we've got and make a little garden house out of it. That's what I'd like to do, but I've got to get it down first. And it's hung up in the friction between this tree and the one on the other side. So I'll take some more shots of it and let you see how it looks all the way around. And the post here that's on the ground, this was a cedar tree that I cut to length, and then I had it buried in the ground with concrete here on the corner, and then I had a galvanized bolt that came out of it, and I had a little skid plate there for it to ride on. That supported this back corner, and I thought that when I took that down, that the house would just come on down. But it didn't. It's dropped about 8 inches on one end. That's all I can get out of it. There's where it's pulled away from that tree. You'll hear it pop every now and then when the wind picks up. But it's not going anywhere. There it popped right then. Can you believe that? While I was standing right here, holy smokes. I told you, that wind start moving, she's gonna come down. Good gracious. Let's take a look inside. I used pine framing, and the squirrels loved it. They would just chew on it like crazy. You see how they've chewed those boards there? See all that? That's where the squirrels chewed the timber. But I told you didn't want to be under this thing when it came down. We got lucky. Just happened to walk out here. See what kind of damage we got over here on this other side. I'm thinking that I can... Oh yeah. See, when I built this, I built it in panels. I put the floor together at height, and then I had the house in panels, and I just brought it in and screwed it to the floor all the way around. So I can take these panels apart. I actually constructed it in my basement and brought it out here in panels and then put it together. So I can rebuild all this over at the garden spot. How about that? Just happened to be standing here when it fell. That's pretty cool. Yeah, now see, it looks like it broke in half, but that was where my panels split. This was basically a modular, I built it as a modular treehouse so that I could come out here and get my platform in place and then build it. Look at that. Wow. That's what I thought it would do. See, you couldn't have moved out from under that fast enough. That would have been a bad day. But this cedar is held up really well. There was no roof over this part of the floor, and so we got rain water on it, it got snow on it, and it rotted out. Of course, again, it's been here 16 years. And that was a seam right there in the house. That was one panel. The side wall there was a panel, and then this little L-shaped spot was another set of panels. It's pretty cool. And you could hear it creak just a little bit. There was a little bit of a breeze that picked up, and those trees started moving apart from each other, and it came on down. I'm surprised it didn't split the cedar up the middle, some of these panels, but it looks real good. I think I can reassemble that.